Hi, everybody. This is Pete Delatorre, host and creator of the Pete Delatorre Show, and welcome to Blockchain Talk. Today's program is sponsored by Blockchain Ecosystems, powered by CrowdPoint Technologies. Today is session 4, and what we're going to do is look at what we call Decentralized Identifiers, DID, breakthrough, a major breakthrough in the field of identity management. My guest today will be Sean OBrien-Brehm, founder and chairman of CrowdPoint Technologies. So let's get into this conversation because I know all of you are anxious for this next session. Okay, here with me is Sean OBrien-Brehm, of course, the founder and chairman of CrowdPoint Technologies. Ready for session 4. What's going on, my friend?
Hey, good morning. How are you doing?
Fantastic. Doing great. Very excited. I got to tell you, we've talked off the sidebar about what's going on and the feedback that we're getting. I'm sure you can see it through the YouTube channel, through LinkedIn. It's just been off the charts. And I think that the timing is unbelievably perfect because everyone is hungry to know more and to be able to participate in all the economic success that's out there for everybody. So it's been great. We've had 3 sessions so far. Last time we had a terrific group from around the country and the world give their personal testimonials, which again was incredibly well received. And today's topic is, I think, as you and I have spoken, again, off air, about the decentralized identifiers and how that works, and to start that process of really sharing with everybody how they can tap into this. Before we do that, another big question I'm getting from everyone, they keep hearing about CrowdPoint and CrowdPoint. Can you give us a short summary of what CrowdPoint Technologies is about?
Yeah, CrowdPoint was designed to be a digital platform provider. And the kind of digital platform that we're providing is 4 components. We're providing big data analytics, artificial intelligence, a compaction technology, and the blockchain. We're building business ecosystems in which they're called exchanges. They're a new kind of marketplace. So we build them and then we help people white label them and take them to market.
You've got a global group of distributors. I'm impressed how that's growing. How many, roughly, how many distributors do you currently have right now?
I think we're just over and under a month over 1,000.
That's pretty significant. And sitting on many Zoom calls in the last year, 12 months, and seeing how everything has been built little by little. And as you build something new, something else developed. And that's the beauty of all of this. And I know distributorship, those ambassadors to spread the word and provide opportunities, it's really what it's all about. And I guess the word crowd actually means that, that group of ambassadors that are doing this. So let's dive into the topic today. We talk about control, and we talk about the breakthrough in the field of identity management. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, no, sure. I mean, today we're going to talk about it, and it's really timely because we have a lot of people saying, I don't understand how to get into the blockchain. How do I get on? I mean, how do I get onboarded, if you will? Well, really what we're going to talk about today is kind of how to do that. And it starts with a decentralized identity. The decentralized identity is going to be changing the future of internet identity and finance for that very reason. And the reason why is they say, you and I have conversations, and we've been saying it on many of these sessions so far that data is the new oil. However, inside the cyber domain, oil comes in many different forms. It comes in volume, variety, velocity, and veracity. But the more important form of data is data when it has value. Mm-hmm. Identity is data with value. Mm-hmm. It really is, Pete, the global currency for the global economy. The human identity is data with value that powers all global commerce today, more and more than ever before. I mean, in the past, it was certainly, a customer, but the human identity really has kind of emerged as the linchpin into an effective global economy, because the human identity is the global currency. The most important assembly of data fields, or what we call kappas of data, undoubtedly is your data that makes up the heart of your identity. At CrowdPoint, we call this the Sigma Prime. And today we're going to talk a little bit about the Sigma Prime and how it's really your onboarding to the blockchain.
Well, let's dive right into that. We have developed in 3 sessions a significant following of individuals that go beyond just an interest in the blockchain. I mean, they really want to know what's going on, and they want to know beyond. Okay, blockchain is cool. It sounds great. It's what's what's the buzz, but how does that all come? So let's go right into to what you just mentioned.
Yeah. So what we call the Sigma Prime is the core to your identity. And that core identity of who you are, once it's corroborated with vast amounts of increasingly detailed transactional data, your Sigma Prime, or who you are, can be organized, I guess you'd say, into assemblies of these data fields. Like if you look at columns of data, those data fields where you see a column and a row, that's what we call that a kappa, an individual intersection, a key value between a column and a row. But when you take lots of those little data fields, those kind of create a sigma. And these sigmas are what companies and organizations, such as credit bureaus, Facebook, and others, they profit from using that human identity. They profit from using that identity. In other words, once your identity is compared to data that's semantically, thematically, temporally, and spatially organized, they can figure out what you want to purchase. That's where we get the beginning of that surveillance capitalism. The human identity is so valuable. Your friends right now and your foes are stealing from you. Your friends are big technology companies that are helping you, engage socially, and your foes are stealing from you. And what do I mean by that? The human identity is such a precious bit of silver that it's driving $6 to $10 trillion in global cybersecurity crime from all of global commerce today. And those numbers come from a company called Cybersecurity Ventures. So it's pretty massive. Your identity is precious. So think of your core identity almost like more important on how and when it's used. It gets more important depending on how it's used and for certain transactions. Obviously, the things that you're interested in that cost more becomes more valuable. So that's a very simple way of understanding how important your human identity is.
You know that when we keep talking about the human identity, and you just mentioned it once again, is the word control screams at me. The way that governments and large corporations and institutions, you just mentioned of your credit bureaus or social media platforms, is control, manipulate. And that is very, very alarming. We've talked about these topics for years, but now it's taken on a whole different meaning. And it's getting to the point that every move we make, it's like you have an adopted controller that's just following you wherever you go, and that's scary. It's alarming, and it's taking away our freedoms at the end of the day.
That's a real interesting way to look at it, because when you think about it, the human identity, our identity, is something just unique to us, and it's very precious because as we grow through our lives, our human identity we develop personally. Mm-hmm. It's how we see ourselves and how other people say us. Historically, when it comes to how identity's been managed, governments have issued us documentation. So our journey through our life has taught us, in the same way that we think learning about ourselves is important, but then we start to learn when to carry our passports, our driver's license. We do all this stuff. We wait for hours in line to get a driver's license, and we dread the experience of replacing our lost or stolen identity.
Yep.
As a result, we store physical identifications in a safe place, right? And we make sure to renew it on time, while of course we're paying the required fees to some kind of centralized issuing authority. Up until about 25 years ago, this approach to identity management was sufficient. I mean, think about it. I mean, business transactions were primarily done in person. And so it was just a matter of passing your documents over the counter, and you got what you wanted. Today, though, it's different. Today, we have a interconnected and untrusted world. So many times, digital transactions require identity behind the screen. So requiring copies of our identities, our driver's license, our passports, or our medical identification card before we can even complete a transaction. There's a problem though. Today's identity documents are physical, right? And they're not designed to be used or shared electronically. So think about it. Please attach a copy of your driver's license. Boom, it's over. Mm-hmm. Because now all that information, and what you've done is you just overshared your information. And on top of that, most businesses, as proven, it's like, Sean, you're going to say something to offend anybody. $6 trillion in cybercrime, guys, because people are stealing people's identity. It's what powers the global world. So when I say people aren't handling your identity properly, I'm not being this avant-garde statement. It's happening, mm-hmm. and we're risking our identity theft. And so when you think about it, unfortunately, especially when you go get to a doctor's office, right? And, you find out how constantly they're taking photocopy. You're handing it to someone who's the front desk. They're making maybe $15 an hour to take your identification. They're photocopying it, and then they're scanning it in. They're putting it into a computer system, and you have no idea what's happened to it. So, there's so many instances where you're oversharing your personal identification. Like, mm-hmm. Think about this. Have you ever really noticed how identity verification always requires you to share more data that's necessary? So in its simplest form, what if you want to go buy a beer? Here's a great example. If you want to go buy a beer, you say, oh, okay, well, I want to see your ID. Well, what do they need from your ID, Pete? All they need is your photograph. Yep, that's you. And they need to look, and they need to be presented their age. But instead, when you present that driver's license to them, they see more than your just picture to say, yeah, this one's kind of Bert and Ernie simple. This one matches like the other. And the date of birth, let me do the math. Okay, you're greater than 18. But when you look at what you see on that driver's license, and it's happening all the time digitally as well, is your full legal name.
Yep.
Your date of birth, your photo, your current residence, your height, your weight, your gender, your eye color, your signature, your hair color, and then some kind of document number. When really all they needed was
really the age. I'll tell you what. For me, at this point in my life, when they ask me for ID, I get complimented. At least that's for me.
Yeah,
it makes me feel good. Okay, for sure. No, with pleasure. Here's my ID. Couple things. We throughout the world. Two things. Number one. We wake up and we start to notice and think about our identity when we get a big hit, like our bank account has been compromised, or our identity has been compromised. But what we don't realize, it's like I call drip irrigation. Every day, little bit of your identity is getting out there. You may not notice it, only when the big hits come. But it's happening. It's kind of like draining your information little by little behind your back without you realizing it's going on. And that's happening every day. And the hackers are more out there than ever before. And so I think that's one aspect. The other is that, and it came up when a couple of weeks ago, I think it was session 2, we talked about the fear that everybody has that, my identity and using the blockchain makes me nervous. I go, well, the opposite is happening here, because when it's centralized, it's going to the hands of a few. right? You're fully exposed to a few, but very powerful institutions or organizations, right? Here, the decentralization is really, I think, the key word here, where everything we've talked about to this point, it is about that. It's about spreading the risk. It's not making it 110% sure, but boy, we're minimizing with blockchain that issue there. So these are kind of some key factors that I think are, in plain English, is waking up people to the beauty of what blockchain is and can do for all of us.
Yeah, when you think about it, you're going to be able to get your identity back. I mean, think of it this way. Currently, your identification is created by someone else so that other people can use it. I mean, think about it. Identification is created today by a centralized authority so that other people can use your identity. But when you get to a decentralized identity, it's created by you, it's created for you by you. I mean, why should you care? I mean, why should people watching this care about a decentralized identity? Not, well, one, it's going to be the way that you actually onboard into the blockchain. It really, the decentralized ID is so innovative and so powerful that most people don't understand it. So let me give you some historical context. Mm-hmm. So in the 15th century, King Henry V issued the first official passport. In the 600 years that's followed that, governments worldwide have taken control over large parts of identity. We take it for granted that bureaucrats issue, renew, and revoke vital identification documents. And we can't, if we don't have it, we can't participate in the modern society. Mm-hmm. So you don't exist if you don't have an ID, right? You ever tried to fly or travel? You ever lost your identification and the immediate, oh crap, this is what's got to happen now. So today, your identity is managed by others that house our online accounts. So whenever you sign up for a new service, that company now de facto owns a part of your digital identity because you push this little button that you didn't read the details on and then own it. You have now just voluntarily engaged in identity slave trade. You're now owned by something else. So you have unwittingly created your own doom and you've contributed to an online identity slave trade. And now they can herd you like cattle using surveillance capitalism.
So
you
Sean,
have no control,
no
insight into how much data and what's being done with it. To participate online, you have to give up control of your data, which means you're giving up control of your life. And so that needs to change. Decentralized identifications have the power in a few minutes to change that. For the first time since the 15th century, in 600 years, we can manage our credentials and we can create a more permanent, cryptographically verifiable record of your identity. In other words, you can authorize an identity by you, for you. You are the authorizing agent and it's for you. It's not for other people, it's for you. You can take control of your entire online existence. And it's very simple how it works and why it's so important, because it's going to give you, first of all, you're going to be decentralized. You're going to be self-sovereign. Wow. I thought it already was. Well, not anymore. It's going to give you privacy. It's going to give you security. It's going to give you interoperability, because now you can go where you want, when you want. And if you want to buy a beer, online, or you want to buy something that requires some data, you go, well, here's my picture. Here's my date of birth. And it's been verified. You don't need anything else. And it's super simple. In fact, I showed someone last night what a decentralized ID visually looks like. And like, wow, it kind of looks like a cool Facebook page. And based upon how I approach it, I only get what you authorized me to. So it's coming super fast, and it's going to be the way people join the blockchain. It's the most important part of it.
So I'm sitting back and I'm watching you speak today. So I'm the regular person. How do I get involved? What are the next steps? How do I take advantage of this? Because it's sold. Where do I sign, right? So what do I need to do as a regular person to tap into the blockchain and start protecting myself and putting myself in a more favorable situation?
Well, the way you get started with it is the way we're having people get started with it is we're making it painless.
Okay.
And we're standing up these exchanges. Exchanges are like a new kind of online marketplace. So in the next few weeks, you're going to be seeing these exchanges. They've already started to pop up, and we have, as you know, distributors, and we're going to start driving traffic and start reaching out to people via email and social media, inviting you to come to one of these exchanges. The idea behind this is let's make it painful. Instead of having you come, fill out a form, let you go through all the details of, creating a digital identity. The idea is, well, let's give you something you need already. Let's provide a product or a service for you. And then in that sign up process, you'll actually create your decentralized ID. Once you claim it, it's yours. All the data around it's yours. It's immutable. It's in the blockchain. You control it. Now you're going to have to do some things for us. You're going to have to come up with your own key phrase and passwords, not really passwords, phrases in your life that mean something, like anywhere from 5 to 10 phrases. So like if you like to fish, maybe you say fishing. If you like to go on roller coasters, use the roller coaster. So you come up with words that are memories, which is more important. When think about it, it's really cool the way to create your identity. You take your memories, the most important memories you have, assign them a word, and that phrase of words becomes the unique way of generating a unique identifier for you that only you will know. Like I said, the decentralized identity is created for you, by you. Sure. And the way we're doing it, instead of coming into a place, filling out a form and go, okay, what's the big deal? It just seems like a nonsensical event. We're tying it to transactions. So each and every one of you watching this in the next few months is going to get an email, is going to get an invitation to your decentralized ID. And we're also starting to put up, and we'll start sharing in the YouTube section below some links where they can go if they want to go ahead and start today online. We're just finished integrating in a new kind of social media company that's come up that wanted to be on the blockchain immediately, created their company to be a blockchain enabled environment. They met us. They said, hey, can you help us out? We're great social media guys. We've left social media companies. We created our own company, but we know enough that in order to be different, we want to put it on the blockchain. So CrowdPoint, as a digital platform provider, built that for them, and we'll be sharing those links out shortly in the comments below, Pete.
That is very, very exciting news, and you've mentioned that to me a couple times in the past, and we're looking forward to help roll this thing out and give everybody an opportunity to be part of it there. So wrapping things up today, and Sean, and let's wrap up this conversation and also a sneak preview for session 5. What we're going to be doing next. So how do we wrap things up for today's session?
Yeah, so I think the way to look at it is understand this, and I've said it so many times that I want to say it again because it's so powerful. You, the one I'm talking to right now, you are literally the most powerful element in the worldwide economy today, because it's your digital identity that is powering the global internet. Every piece of data that someone has on you, I want you to think of it as bullion weight. So if I was holding a silver coin in my hand right here, the weight of that coin is in milligrams or in ounces. So when you think about every single data point that you've given about yourself, whether it's your traffic from an IP address, whether it's your home address, whether what color car you like, or what you purchased, every time you've done that, think of it as 1 milligram of silver. 1 milligram of silver. So let's say you've given 1,000 things about you and answering questions. That would be 1,000 milligrams. That 1,000 milligrams today is 1 milligram. That's about 89 cents in value. That's the bullion weight. So think about the bullion weight. But you can have an ounce of silver coin, and there it is. But let's say it has a stamp of a famous president or a famous author, or maybe it's 1,000 years old and it's got Caesar on it. The numismatic value, because of the uniqueness, takes the bullion value, which might be 89 cents, and turns it into thousands of dollars in value. ladies and gentlemen, your numismatic value, ones that in the past art collectors would cherish so much because of the historical value. I'm sorry, but the historical value of you is greater than anything that's ever been created on this planet.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You can't put a dollar figure on us.
Yeah, people are, Pete.
Yeah, people
And
are.
when you think about it. If you're going to go buy a car and somebody's running advertising campaigns for a car dealership, that car dealer, depending on the car, could be paying anywhere from $500. If you're buying an Aston Martin, it could be up to $10,000 commission on getting you to show up. Think about that. You, ladies and gentlemen, are powering the global multi-trillion-dollar global commerce. And it's your bullion weight, but it's the numismatic value of what buying decision you're thinking about, how you're semantically aligned with a decision. What is the theme behind that? What is the temporal? How soon do you want to buy? What have you bought in the past? And where do you live? All that data is got not just the bullion weight of those little data fields, but the numismatic. You are non-fungible. You're not tradable, but you're being traded around the planet today for trillions and trillions of dollars. Claim your decentralized ID and start taking control of your God-given value.
Absolutely. And I'm just, and I'm thinking the powers at be, the control body that wants to continue, all of this is not good news for them. Okay. This is very bad news for them. So all I would say is beware, because I think that we're seeing it already. The hacking, the control, it's going off the charts because they know what's coming. Okay. And they don't like it. And that's okay because it's about us. It's about us.
Always been about us. It's always been
really
about
has,
you.
but it has been forgotten. It's been forgotten, and so many have been lost in that and have accepted the fact, well, that's just the way it is. Well, guess what? It doesn't, and it's not going to be the way it is anymore. We're taking charge again. Great conversation, my friend. What can we look forward to in session 5?
Well, session 5 is going to be pretty exciting because this time we're going to bring a few more people on board and do it again. But this time we're going to talk a little bit about their journey and what they're doing about joining the blockchain. So the first time they talked about why they joined the blockchain and why they became a distributor. Now we're going to bring some people from around the world to talk about some very simple things on how they're entering the blockchain. They're going to talk about very simple concepts of what it means to be a micro entrepreneur. So they're going to talk about what they're doing on the blockchain. And I think it'll really surprise people on the simplicity yet elegance of how to not only join the blockchain, but how to thrive on the blockchain.
And I think that's a big question so many have right now. Okay, this is great. It's fantastic. It's good news. So they've been thinking, how do I get involved? And this is a perfect segue into answering those questions and hearing it from others that are doing it already. So fantastic, my friend. This has been terrific as always. I know you've had a lot of all-nighters recently, but it is because you've got a great message and a lot of folks are jumping on board. So this is fantastic. Congratulations to you.
Thanks so much, Pete. And we're so glad that I've met you and you're kind of taking us on this journey. You're kind of like the translator for the rest of the planet. And I really appreciate it.
No, thank you so much, buddy. Take care of yourself and rest up.
I will. Thanks.
Okay. Wow, what an incredible session 4 with Sean. I mean, Sean is brilliant, and this journey has been unbelievable to this point. We have so much more that we want to share with you on this Blockchain Talk. Again, we're honored that the program is sponsored by Blockchain Ecosystem, powered by CrowdPoint Technologies. You get to watch us every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook Live and my YouTube channel, Pete Delatorre, of which I'm going to ask you, if you have a moment, to subscribe to my channel. Make sure to follow me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and of course, my YouTube channel. Keep writing and sending us your feedback and your comments. They have been unbelievable. It is helping us to shape future conversations and discussions we will have for your benefit. I want to wish everybody a great week. Thank you again for joining us today. Take care of yourselves, and God bless.